Looks like my cattle are ready to be bred.
So about 2 weeks ago, I put out a video talking about my friend Jeff, who passed away a couple years ago, and just earlier this summer we had a big memorial gathering for him.
And the video got a ton of flack and blowback because people got mad at me. A lot of viewers felt like that video was clickbait.
I can't believe they'd lie to me like that!
That's what clickbait does, dude.
You know, the title of that video was something along the lines of saying goodbye without regrets. Because the video was basically me telling a story while I'm doing my farm chores, I just took a shot of me and Mr. Toby Dog. And YouTube gives you the ability to see which videos do better. And what I found is that videos featuring Toby Dog in the thumbnail always seem to do the best. And the moment I put that video out, views took off like a skyrocket. People were clicking left and right, but what I was also noticing in about the first 20 minutes or so is that people were angry. I had people telling me I was just a clickbait artist, and I had people telling me that they were unsubscribing. It was like chaos, and so as soon as I saw that that was going on, I was actually outside doing some stuff and ran inside the house. I quickly changed the thumbnail to the other option that I'd selected out, which is a picture of me and Toby Dog with a picture of my friend Jeff. But the angry comments kept on coming, and people kept on saying, "This is clickbait, you're the worst, you've gone down the YouTube dark side."
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
Oh man.
All in all, you're just another bull with no balls.
As a complete agricultural aside here, I think I'm starting to learn the signs of when my cattle go into heat. And right now, Anne of Green Gables specifically has gone into heat.
What I've noticed is it starts with Jimi Hendrix, because he's also a bull technically, even though he's much too young to breed. He will start sniffing the different cows when they pee.
And so when he starts to do that, he's I think detecting the hormones that suggest that they're going into heat.
And then either Audrey 1, who's my most dominant cow, or Kurt Cobain, who's my steer, they will start to try to mount the various cows that have gone into heat. And again, because we have no bull, sometimes they can push back, and it can be a little bit terrifying, to be quite honest.
If you guys are wondering why I'm carrying this fence post around with me, is if I need to get somebody to back off a little bit, I find it's a useful tool. I don't hit them with it, but it's like a little poke, because I don't want one of these cows trying to mount me. But anyway, people were very, very mad, even with that second thumbnail, that it was clickbait. And I even updated to a third thumbnail where I took Toby Dog out of the photo, enlarged it, and I found an even bigger picture of Jeff. And so it was just me and Jeff, but people were still mad.
And I think that anger was really rooted in the title of the video, because I was suggesting that somebody died.
Which I think was 100% warranted for that video, because it was quite literally about remembering my friend, some regrets I thought I had, and then how some of those regrets melted away because I essentially got lucky.
Yeah, Ariel? You wanna get lucky? Let's see if I can brush you while we talk.
Ariel has been letting me brush her lately. See this, huh? That's some serious progress in my book. So yeah, folks really felt like it was clickbait because, look, Toby Dog's been sick, had the drama with Abby, and so lots of people thought one of the dogs was going away based solely on that title. So I do understand them, and I do understand where that's coming from. And to a certain extent, that was probably even a little bit of my calculus, right? I always try to make sure I accurately title my videos. By the end of that video, you're gonna feel like the thing that I said I was doing, I actually did. Even if it wasn't exactly the thing you, the audience, might have thought it would be when you clicked on the video. Because in my opinion, I feel like that's one of the elements of good storytelling. Being able to bring your audience along for some ups and downs, giving them something somewhat unexpected and somewhat surprising, and hope that they're satisfied by the end of it.
Kill him! Kill him!
But what I'm finding more and more lately, whoa,
I gotta get out of here. Might not be safe to do too much more brushing today. I don't want to end up a cow pancake. And if you go back and look at the last 4.5 years that I've been regularly producing YouTube videos, what you're gonna find is that I have consistently adhered to that strategy, where although there might be a little bit of misdirection in the title and thumbnail, ultimately the thing that the title says it's gonna do ends up paying off, and that the thumbnail has some element of what's happened in the video at some point in the video. And sometimes I'll play with the principle of those two things don't necessarily match. But now why do I do that? It's because that's kind of how YouTube works.
If somebody doesn't click on your video, they're never gonna watch your video. So the first step you have to have is getting people to click.
Daddy needs his clicks.
But if they click on your video and get mad and feel like you robbed them and give up on your video, that's not good either. That too is how YouTube works.
These cattle have been in this yard. They're looking for some fresh grass, I can tell. Look how far Anna Green Gables is reaching below the fence. Annie, come on. I'll get you some fresh grass in a moment here.
But the reality is, when it comes to clickbait, I think people get very mad about clickbait because they feel like they've been duped. They feel like they might put their trust in a video that's gonna give them something that they believe is gonna happen, some narrative that they've created in their head. And when that narrative doesn't play out, they're frustrated.
And that's perfectly understandable. I really work hard to give people an honest look at my farm, and when they feel duped, I could get why they'd be angry. And so I'm definitely at fault for Jeff's farewell video and how folks felt like it was clickbait, because I clearly set up a premise that never ever paid off.
You done messed up, Aaron!
I also think I'd be negligent if I didn't mention that it's probably been my click-worthy thumbnails that have stirred up a wee bit of controversy over the last couple of months.
And you always have to stir the pot, don't you?
Somebody who makes videos on a regular basis, I'm often struggling with how much is dramatic tension and how much is clickbait. And lately I'm finding more and more the line between those two things is exceptionally thin. Like frustratingly thin, in fact. Like it drives me insane type of thin. Because at the end of the day, I believe like one of the core tenets for making good videos, it's respecting your audience and believing in the intelligence of your audience and not trying to treat them like they're stupid. And I clearly see if I'm crossing that line into clickbait, I'm making people think that I think they're stupid. So I clearly know that I veered the wrong side of that line in the video about my friend Jeff.
Crossed the line, things got confused.
I crossed the lane.
We crossed the line.
We have now crossed a line that is beyond the line that I thought we were going to cross.
Sometimes you don't know you've crossed a line until you're already on the other side.
But I also have to face the reality of the fact that about 80% of all of my videos just basically consist of me doing chores.
And so how you make chore videos without just having the most boringest titles and thumbnails ever,
That's most definitely a direction I don't want to go in.
hey cows, come on cows, fresh grass, come on. The cattle will have this small area in the morning. I've already created a second grazing cell for them for the afternoon. So I'll probably come out here a little bit before dinner and let them grab this spot as well. I find it's important not to give them too much space or else they only eat the really good stuff like the vetch that we have growing here, and they ignore the bad stuff like the goldenrod. If they're in a smaller area, they're gonna eat more of the crappy stuff, which will prevent the crappy stuff from coming back and make our pastures better. How's it going, Annabelle? Liking that fresh, tasty grass. And yeah, we're in the swing of milkweed season. We've even skipped certain parts of the pasture to let some of the milkweed survive. The cows will trample most of it down. They might eat a little bit of it, but not too much. Not so much that I have to worry about it. That milkweed's important for the monarch butterfly populations. Definitely see a lot of them out here. Probably have counted about a dozen monarchs that I've seen just this morning alone. Hang on, Jimi Hendrix. I'm still setting up the Happy Cow Mobile. How's it going, bud? Good boy. Yeah, Jimi Hendrix continues to become the most sociable calf I have. Doesn't mean he's not still nervous, but he's much more curious about me. For those wondering about the fly situation, it's gotten so much better. I think I just counted 2 flies on Jimi Hendrix. I don't see anybody who's got a lot of flies on them. Like if we come back to our girl Ariel, yeah, I can see 2 on her. I'll take that. She does not want to get brushed right now. She just wants to eat fresh grass.
If we were to check on our fly traps, I actually put this fresh fly paper down
About 36 hours ago. It wasn't yesterday afternoon, but the afternoon before. As you can see, there's not a ton. There's a couple. Same thing with this one.
Part of when I move the watering station, I have to move the fly catching stations too.
I probably won't even bother changing the fly paper today, but I will keep using these.
That's part of how I prevent the fly flare-ups from coming back.
Abby loves drinking from the trough right after I pour it out. I don't know what that's all about.
Not yet, little Jimmy. I gotta turn the water on back down the hill.
Okay, that's now live. All right, Abby dog, let's go. All right, we gotta feed the chickens next. Let's go. Come on. Fresh water for the chickens. We'll be back for your eggs later, okay? Abby, don't eat the chicken, cocky. All right, let's keep going down the hill there, Abby. So the main purpose of these fences at this point is to keep the cattle out, particularly the calves. I let the chickens escape because I find that they start to attack more of the cow pies,
which helps with the fly problem with the cattle.
And I'm also finding it's actually a pretty good training opportunity for Abby to be able to come out here with me every morning, spend a little time with the chickens, but also in a way that I can supervise her very, very closely. Like right here, she's actually being pretty good. She's sniffing around and exploring the area, but she's not trying to get too up into the chickens business. All right, Abby, back down the hill, let's go.
So back down in the bird yard, there's actually an experiment I'm working on right now. Just started it this morning and I'll be curious to see what I come back to. So as you guys know, we've had these baby ducklings and baby chicks now for darn near 5 weeks or so, 6 weeks almost, I think. I gotta go back and look at my phone and tell you exactly when it was.
So I've actually decided to release those ducklings and start to let them free range. They will free range around the farm for the next, I don't know, 8 weeks or so until I end up harvesting the drakes, maybe selling a few more of the females, and then start moving everybody, all the birds, into the winter housing.
You're not getting a new t-shirt.
But Goldshaw Farm has a new t-shirt.
Well, some years later, I found out that that man did come up with an idea for a t-shirt.
Don't you see, man? The t-shirt is everything.
Cannot have you walking around at this dinner party in the same shabby t-shirt.
I just need a new t-shirt.
I love this t-shirt. Can I have it?
Sure.
I've seen it on a t-shirt.
Yeah. You're wearing a black t-shirt.
Something with a t-shirt.
That sounds like a bad t-shirt.
That's a cool t-shirt.
That's a great t-shirt.
This is his t-shirt.
Well, we're already pretty big, but yeah, I guess it'd be cool if cool people started wearing our t-shirt or whatever.
You forgot the t-shirt.
And I sent her my favorite t-shirt.
Simon, please don't fart in my t-shirt. Sorry.
Oh, would you look at that? See that gosling? With its protective buff family? I'm now down to only one gosling, if you can see. Or at least one buff gosling.
I actually, in the last couple of days, have sold 2 of the other goslings that hatched out. They've gone to other homesteads to become guard geese.
So now that one buff gosling is the most protected bird on our farm, by far. But yeah, I'm actually in the process of starting to tear down my old failed hoop coop. You see I'm starting to rimp up the fencing, starting to pull apart the frame, because I'm gonna begin building the much larger, newer hoop coop very soon.
The goal will be to get that one done before the start of winter. That way, I can actually move all of my birds, all of my ducks, all my chickens, all my geese into that one giant hoop coop, because I'm gonna keep my birds a little differently this winter than I have in years past.
All the birds are gonna live inside the hoop coop, and I'm gonna make actually like a winter bird yard somewhere around here. That's gonna mean that the quack house is gonna be empty and abandoned, and that's because we're gonna have some new residents there. This is going to become the new doghouse for both Toby and Abby. As I start to transition Abby slowly to a more adult way of life, this hoop coop is going to serve as an important way of doing it. I'll probably end up replacing the flooring.
It's just the cheapest possible linoleum you can buy at Home Depot. And once it's cleaned up, it's going to make a perfect doghouse.
Abby's still going to have a puppy yard for during the daytime, but at night, she and Toby are going to be able to free range 100% around the fenced-in pasture.
The reason I'm comfortable with doing that is because all of the birds will be locked up.
You know, it's really tough on Abby right now in the summer months because the bird's free range, and that means
I can't let her run free and loose at night without having the risk of some sort of accident happening. And even just the other day, I had a pretty close call with her, so.
But as for those little ducklings, like I said, when I let them out this morning, I actually didn't give them much food, and I didn't give them fresh water, and I just gave them the chance to like walk out the front door, but it doesn't seem like anybody's done that. What are you guys doing, huh?
I'm gonna leave this door open too, just to encourage them to come out. It's so funny trying to get them to break their habits.
And then if I check in my other nursery, my ducklings are doing really well. We've got our 2 mama ducks. We've got Generic Duck and Ron Swanson.
And then generic ducks babies are getting pretty gosh darn big. They are, I don't know, I think about 3.5 weeks old. And so they're getting pretty close to being able to go outside. Ron Swanson's babies are doing pretty good. They're getting bigger and bigger. And then you might see this one little one here that is way, way smaller than everybody else. That's because I don't know if you guys remember that black duck that was hatching out some eggs in the pasture. Well, she ended up hatching out the eggs. What happened is she kind of abandoned the one duckling that she hatched out, which is this little one here. So the mom's been off running around, and so before the baby could get cold and sick and die, I ended up taking it and putting it in here with these other ducklings. And so far, it's been adopted pretty well into the flock. Ron and Generic Duck are serving as co-moms, and got plenty of brothers and sisters. And so, while it's maybe slightly risky to do this, it seems like things are working out well so far. Now, Abby, you know not to play with these little ones, right? Actually, the close call that I was talking about involved that littlest duckling. When she was out and loose, right as I spotted her, Abby went for her and grabbed her and caught her in her mouth. I was terrified that that bird would be dead immediately. But to Abby's credit, she was soft-mouthing it. And as soon as I said leave it, she actually dropped it. And so no harm, no foul, or no harm, too foul. I'll probably also end up tearing down this doghouse if I'm gonna use the Quack House as a doghouse. But yeah, at this point, that's kind of where things are at. Now, I guess coming back to that clickbait point, I could have easily made a video and focused it exclusively on Abby grabbing that little duckling, even if I don't have the footage of it. And I could have made like the whole video about like Abby almost ate a duckling.
I'm turning over a new leaf. Hadn't you heard?
How's it going there, Molly Murder Mittens? But I am curious to hear from you guys. Like, what do you think about this whole clickbait debate? Like, where do you draw the line? I know I've already heard from people who are mad, but are there people out there who aren't mad? Like, I would really like to know that. Like, I would really like to know where folks stand on this debate and what I should be doing with my channel. And quite honestly, telling good stories is my favorite part about making these videos and sharing them with you guys.